Hello everybody, Nepkin99 here, and welcome back to the Minecraft Let's Play series. If you missed it, last episode we built this super smelter that you can see right here, and we actually decorated this section of the cave with trees, the river, some vines, and a big old geode of course. And we built the super smelter because we're going to be needing a lot of glass for our projects today. And also, before we move on, be sure to stick around to the end of this video because we are going to be doing a build vote where you guys can choose what our first major building project in this world will be. And of course, there will be more information about that at the end of this video when we do that. Anyways, for our projects today, we are actually going to be heading up to the surface, which I don't really think we've spent too much time in around our base here since about episode 1 or 2, because we are going to be building some plant farms. We're not going to be doing all of these today. I believe we're going to leave the moss farm and the mushroom farm for next episode, but the rest of these we're going to be trying to do today. So I've had a lot of temporary plant farms up here. As you can see, I've got some sugarcane and some wheat over there in the distance. I had some trees over there, but I just took them down since we are building over here now. And as you can see, I've already gone ahead and laid out where these farms are going to go. We've got our tree farm over here, which I've already built the floor for. We're going to be doing sugarcane and bamboo up here. That will be a wheat farm over there. We're going to have a pumpkin and melon farm up on the hill. And then we'll be doing a cactus farm over there. And actually a funny little thing over here, as you can see on the surface here, Endermen really like this spot. They've been taking a bunch of sand and red sand from over there. So I discovered a little, what I like to call an Enderman nest, where they just drop off a whole bunch of blocks. This cave is just littered with sand and red sand and dirt from Enderman. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't think I've ever seen one they've gone in this much. And when I originally found this up on this side over here, there's a little hole around here somewhere. Yeah, right there. There was like 5 Endermen in there holding blocks, and I think they were stuck. But anyways, back on track here, let's get started with the tree farm. Now you may be wondering what the heck is going on the floor here, so let me explain a little bit. So obviously where the podzol is where we're going to be planting our trees, and we do all podzol since the spruce trees will turn it to podzol anyways. So in the middle here is mostly where we'll be doing like bulk spruce wood, so we can just plant a whole bunch of spruce trees. And if we want to harvest the leaves, we can spread them out a little further in this square here. These 2x2s on the outside are mostly going to be used for the dark oak trees. We space them out a little bit further so that we can have all the leaves, because the dark oak saplings tend to be a little harder to get a return on. So we want as many chances as possible to get those saplings back. And then obviously on the outside, these 1x1s are for oak, birch, acacia, just anything that's 1x1. You may be wondering what the heck these dispensers are for. So my plan is to hook a button up to these, activate water in all of these, which will push all the sticks and saplings to a little collection system underneath. That way we don't have to be running around back and forth all over this room, because while you may not have a problem with it, I tend to do that a lot, so I'm just trying to save myself the trouble here. So I still have yet to hook up the redstone to this, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. This most likely will be temporary placement on the button, but for now we'll just run the redstone like so. So then if we press this button, all the dispensers should fire out their water. And as you can see, a lot of items will be pushed into the middle and a lot of items will be pushed to this outer edge. And we won't quite get everything. A lot of stuff that falls around on this white space out here won't be collected, but we should be able to get at least a return on our saplings, which is the most important part here. And now we got some mine carts running down here, one running around the outside, one circling around on the very center. So that should collect pretty much all of the drops that the water pushes around to the edge. So I think how I want to do the walls here, this is obviously going to be a greenhouse. Most of these buildings actually will be. So we want most of the walls and the ceiling to be glass in the nature of a greenhouse. So I'm thinking we'll have some support pillars between the glass to kind of support it. And then I think for these pillar designs, we'll do a plus shape out of the lime concrete and kind of fill in the corners with these diorite walls. So after putting all these pillars in, I'm not entirely sold on this diorite yet. I might switch out some of it for deep slate, but we'll try that later. Anyways, I've got the glass laid out for where we're going to build up the glass walls, and we're going to do a little bit of a deep slate border around it both inside and outside. But first, let's make a proper entrance into this building. I think we're going to go for a full circle kind of look here. So perhaps a little too small to be doing the real circle shape, so let's try something a little different maybe. There we go. I think something like that looks a bit better than what we had before. And before I build up the glass walls here, I want to get our ceiling situated since the walls are obviously going to be going up into the ceiling. So I've been thinking for a bit, and since this is a greenhouse, we obviously want to have a glass ceiling, but with the walls here, especially with them being a couple blocks thick when we have the deep slate around the edge here, it's gonna have to have some sort of solid part or it's gonna look really weird from above. So I was thinking maybe we do like a solid bit, and then I realized it would probably look pretty weird as well. So I think what we're gonna do is put a balcony starting from the inside edge of the wall and extending a little bit out beyond the outside of the wall. And then we'll put our dome on the inside of that. Alrighty, so I went ahead and put in the balcony, as well as the entire rest of the building and parts of some of the others as well. The roof is an interesting thing here, so I kind of went with two separate domes. I went for a little bit of a flatter one, more of an ellipsoid, with a sphere dome on top of it. And the reason we did that is one, to add a little bit of interest to the roof, but secondly, we didn't need the full dome on the outside parts here, because this is where our shorter trees are. And then in the middle, where we plant our larger trees, that's where we have the more open dome. And that gives our 2x2 trees a little bit more room to grow. We do also have access to the balcony. I put in little water elevators on this entrance and that entrance, just inside here. So we can just go up real quick and also drop back down. As you can see, I also built a couple of our farms off camera. I built the cactus farm, the pumpkin and melon farm, as well as the bamboo and sugarcane farm over there. So I built pretty much just about as much as I needed to get the farm functional. Of course, with the cactus farm, that means pretty much the whole thing's almost done. But there is one detail I wanted to add to this. So since we have this big rectangle here, I thought we might go for a more modern style. We're going to come to the front here, go out a few blocks, build this out just a tiny bit, and now we're just going to build up these corners here with the polished deep slate, and we'll maybe fill in this extra edge on the corner with lime concrete just to give us a little bit of color before we put the glass in. And these are actually going to extend all the way up over on top of the building, give us a nice little jut out on top here as well. I think that's looking pretty decent. I did end up changing some of this polished deep slate to deep slate tiles just to kind of break it up a bit. It was looking a little weird before. I think it looks quite a bit better now. As for the rest of this building, I think we're going to go ahead and add some polished deep slate walls in the corners to break up this green just a little bit. And on the roof here, we're going to put a little lip around the edge of the roof just to give it a little bit of depth from down below. Now there's just one last detail I want to add to this building before we can call it done. So a long while before I started doing YouTube, I actually built a lot of modern houses just in creative, just for fun. And one thing I would always do, oftentimes with dark oak like I'm doing right here, would be to have some sort of bit that goes up, kind of like we did up front, but more just like a 1 block deep little thing like this. And we would just wrap it all the way up to the ceiling. Just a little simple something like that. I think it adds a little bit of different color to it. Kind of helps blend in our dark oak over there as well. But overall, I think this building looks pretty good now. And for the pumpkin and melon farm and the bamboo and sugarcane farm, I just went ahead and did these off camera real quick. They're both pretty similar in shape. We've got little roofs on these little side parts where the farms are, and then we have this hallway in the middle with the higher little dome roof. And then pretty much the same thing over here with the bamboo and sugarcane farm. We did some diorite over here because all the redstone is behind this wall, so I didn't want to do glass and see all that. One thing we did do different in here though, sorry for the noise, we got some little staircases up to the top with our little iron bar railings, just to give it a little bit more functionality. And we still do have one farm to build over here, and that of course is our wheat farm. But before we can do that, we actually need to head back underground real quick. So there are actually two things we need before we can build the wheat farm. The first of which is a villager. That's why we're at our Dealmaker 9000 here. But I first need to actually get our mending villager into an actual spot so I don't pick him up and send him up there. There we go, we got him tucked away for now. Now we just have to send a villager through, turn him into a farmer, and send him off to his new home. There we go. The villager is now inside the wheat farm, and it should actually be fully functional as a wheat farm. But the other thing that we need to do is get some beehives, because I want this to double as a honeycomb farm. So we're gonna have our bee nests over here and our flowers over here. So when the bees come out, they'll come over here to pollinate these flowers. And once they pollinate the flowers, they'll fly back to their bee nests. Well, while they're doing that, since they have collected pollen, they're gonna have pollen dripping off their butts as they fly over. And that has the chance when it falls down to grow the wheat by one stage, which of course will grow the wheat faster, which means it can be harvested faster, which overall just increases our rates of wheat. So to get our hands on these bee nests, we're going to head over to the flower forest here where we built our flower farms a couple episodes ago, because beehives are supposed to be pretty common in the flower forest, which makes sense since there's lots of flowers here for them to pollinate. And there are actually a couple bees over here, so let's see if we can follow them to their nest. Oh, I see it over there. That's at least one inside. I think the other one that was around here probably went inside as well. But I think we should be able to collect this with Silk Touch. Yeah, without causing any problems here. So if we are missing any bees from these, we can always just breed them together using flowers inside of the wheat farm. So we'll just take whatever bees we can find. So actually real quick while we're over here, I noticed some goats, so I got the idea to get some leather boots from the locals here and see if maybe we can get ourselves a goat horn. So I believe how we do this is we have to stand on the edge of a block because they want to knock us off, and then they'll see you and start to try to ram at you. They'll like lower their head, and then you gotta kind of block them off with a log or something to make them break off their horn. Like, oh, he went through it. Gosh dang it. It might take us a couple tries here, but we will get one. Here he goes. Let's get him this time. I think we got one. Where'd it go? There it is. Which one do we get? Seek. What does this sound like? Aha. This guy wants some. Let's get him. Ah! We can get it this time. I think we got it. What do we get? Ponder. It's different. What does this one sound like? Sounds like victory to me. But anyways, that's enough messing around. Let's get our beehives put in here. And since we're facing them towards us, they should only come out this way, so we don't have to worry about them escaping out the back. And let's actually get out of here real quick before they start coming out of the hive. And now all of our farms for today are pretty much done. As you can see, the bees have woken up and they've gone to work. There's quite a few of them in there, so I probably won't bother breeding them because we don't necessarily need all of them in there. As for the design of this building, it's a little bit weird because one side's bigger than the other. So I went ahead and did our little modern stripes on this one as well with the dark oak, and then just a little glass room over here where you can see the bees pollinating the flowers. And just one last detail I want to add around pretty much all of our buildings here is some andesite to kind of look like a pavement. And we'll probably do some polished andesite on the outside for a little bit of a curb, and then we'll probably end up filling a lot of this extra area in with moss later. So something like that looks pretty decent. And that's actually about all I'm going to have time to do today because I just took a look at the time and I've actually got to get started packing because I am leaving on a trip here for about a week or so. And I wanted to get this video out for you guys before I left. But of course, if you remember, at the beginning of this video, I did briefly mention that we were going to be doing a build vote at the end of this video so that you guys could choose what theme we're going to be doing our first major building project in. So let's hop over to my creative test world so I can show you guys what I've come up with. So here we are in my creative world. As you can see, the many iterations of the Dealmaker behind me. So I've come up with 4 different building themes, and I've made little mock-up houses, or just a single house in a couple cases, that kind of showcase what the theme will be like and what sort of our build palette will be. So the first of our themes, as you can see here, is a Japanese, kind of older, more traditional style theme there. I haven't figured out all the details for this theme yet, but this is, of course, just a rough mock-up. There will be other things like plants and fences and all sorts of other decorations. And I'm thinking this city will be in the mountains, actually in the flower forest that we were at earlier. The second option is a desert city that's in more of a Mughal Arabic architecture. I still have to do a little bit more research about it, but this is our rough mock-up for that theme. So it'll be more typical desert style houses, and we'll try to throw in some color, try to make it a bit more colorful than these buildings over here. But we'll of course do a palace and a big bustling city, probably with some docks as well. And of course, this will be in the desert. We may do a pyramid as well. I'm not too sure if that really fits the theme yet. I still have to do some more research. But if it does fit, then we'll probably do a pyramid with this as well. The third option is a more traditional medieval style. And we'll be going with a little bit of a theme of red with this one, so any castles or forts or anything will probably have big white walls with nice bright red roofs. And this mock-up has just a little bit of the street out in front of it as well. And last but certainly not least is our more modern day style. This is the townhouse that we built a couple episodes ago. Obviously in the creative world. Fun story about this, I actually don't have it in the survival world anymore. I made a backup of my world after that episode and somehow lost the chunk that it was built in, so it restored back to the default terrain there. So we would have to build this again if we do this theme, which isn't a big deal because I actually found a spot that I like for it much better than our last one. As for how to vote for which theme you would like to see, by the time this video goes live, there will be a poll on my community tab. If you are subscribed and have the bell hit, you should get a notification for this as well. If for some reason you're not able to see that, I will also be running a poll on my Twitter account, so be sure to check the description and check me out there if you want to vote that way as well. And I think how we'll do it is we'll tally up both the Twitter votes and the YouTube votes, and whichever one gets the most votes will be the theme that we do next. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you did enjoy, I'd greatly appreciate it if you go down, just take a second to leave a like, as it helps the channel grow and reach more people. And next episode, we're probably going to be trying to wrap up our base here. We'll see if we can do it in one episode, because I still have quite a bit of stuff to do. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.